Why degrees are losing financial value for most of modern history. This sentence was true. If you get a degree, you'll be financially fine. Not rich, not extraordinary, but safe. That sentence is quietly breaking. Not because education stopped mattering, and not because people suddenly became lazy or entitled, but because the system that made degrees valuable has changed, and almost nobody talks about how. Let me start with an uncomfortable observation. Today, millions of highly educated people are doing everything they were told, and still struggling to move forward financially. Not at the margins, at the center, and that's new. Picture a familiar scene. A student in their early 20s, maybe in the US, maybe somewhere in Europe. They chose a good degree. Business, economics, psychology, engineering, something practical, something respectable. 4 years pass, sometimes 5, sometimes 6. They graduate. They don't feel behind. They feel prepared. Then the numbers arrive. Let's slow this down. In the US, the average graduate leaves with around $30,000 to $40,000 in student debt. In Europe, tuition may be lower, but housing, living costs, and lost years of income fill the gap. Now the job offer, maybe $55,000 a year, maybe $60,000 if they're lucky. After tax, health insurance, and basic deductions, that's roughly $3,500 a month. Rent takes $1,300. Transportation takes $300. Food takes $400. Student loan payments take $350. Phone, utilities, insurance take another $300. Before life begins, over $2,600 is gone. What's left is not progress. It's maintenance. And this is where the story quietly shifts. Degrees didn't suddenly lose value. They were slowly overproduced. For decades, governments, universities, and employers aligned on one idea. More education equals a stronger economy. So access expanded. Enrollment exploded. Degrees became common. Too common. When something becomes common, it stops being a signal. It becomes a baseline. A degree today doesn't say, this person is exceptional. It says, this person meets the minimum threshold. That's a crucial difference. Here's how the system actually works now. Universities sell credentials. Employers buy filters. Degrees are no longer primarily about skills. They're about sorting. When hundreds of applicants apply for one role, a degree becomes a checkbox, not a differentiator. So students invest years and money to qualify for a job that used to require far less. The work didn't get harder. The entry point did. Now, let's look at the uncomfortable math. A 4-year degree costs time. Not just tuition. Time. Those 4 years could have produced income, experience, compounding. Instead, they produce delay. When the return on that delay doesn't significantly exceed the alternative, the financial value collapses. And for many degrees, that's exactly what's happening. Wages haven't risen fast enough to justify the cost, but tuition and expectations have. That gap doesn't disappear. It gets financed. There's also an incentive problem hiding in plain sight. Universities get paid up front. Governments back the loans. Students take the risk. If the degree pays off, great. If it doesn't, the system still got paid. This isn't malicious. It's structural. And structures don't need intent to cause harm. Public messaging hasn't caught up. We still tell students education is an investment, but we rarely talk about returns. In investing, a low-return asset with high cost is a bad investment. But with degrees, we removed that language. We replaced it with identity, status, fear of falling behind. So people enroll not because the math works, but because opting out feels dangerous. Here's the quiet irony. The people who benefit most from degrees today are often the ones who needed them least. Those with strong networks, family, support, capital. For everyone else, the degree becomes leverage, but not the good kind. Financial leverage with limited upside. Meanwhile, the economy itself changed. Technology compressed skill premiums. Globalization expanded competition. Automation reduced the payoff of routine cognitive work. Degrees train for stability in a system that no longer rewards stability. And the cost of being wrong is high. This doesn't mean education is useless. It means blind faith in credentials is. The value of a degree is now conditional on field, on timing, on cost, on what you pair it with. But the story we tell hasn't updated. Here's the deeper risk. When large parts of a generation invest heavily in something that no longer delivers proportional returns, frustration builds, not laziness, not entitlement, mismatch. And mismatches don't resolve quietly. So where does this leave us? In a strange place. Degrees still matter, but not the way they used to. Education is still powerful, but not automatically financial. And the promise that effort guarantees payoff is weaker than it once was. That doesn't mean the system is broken beyond repair, but it does mean the old map no longer matches the terrain. And the real question isn't whether degrees are worth it. The question is this: how long can a society keep selling the same promise after the returns have changed?